This is an actual conversation that took place where on February 9th, 2016, 4:30 in the afternoon in Panama City, Florida, where I witnessed a cop telling a bicyclist to get on the sidewalk, get off the street, or they would be arrested and thrown in jail. Now, this right here is something that is an actual conversation that took place. This is under 119 of the Florida statutes. This is under public concern. So anyway, here's how the conversation goes right now.
Yes, Brenda, could you get me internal affairs?
Yes, hold on for me. Sabrina.
Yes, Sabrina. I just tried calling internal affairs February 10th, 2016. Brenda answered, and then the phone got hung up. Do you like doing conspiracies? Do you like doing conspiracies? You understand under 775-30, do you understand that you're doing a felony right now?
Bad tape. This is an old bad tape. So there's places that's going to be washed out.
Panama City Police Department, this is Brenda.
Yes, Brenda, I would like internal affairs, and I don't want to be hung up on.
Okay, well, we don't have a section with that title, internal affairs. Complaints go through a chain.
What is the chain, Brenda? See, I'm surprised. I thought that I could call internal affairs, Brenda. I called you. Maybe you accidentally hung up the phone. I talked to a Sabrina, who I got hung up on. Let me ask you something. So what is the chain, Brenda? Because this is very, very important.
Okay, it goes from the officer to an immediate supervisor, and then steps all the way to the chief.
Okay, give me exact steps, because it seems to me that when I tried calling the dispatcher, February 10th, 2016, I was hung up on by Sabrina, which I find it awfully interesting. She forgets about Title IX that allowed her to get that position in the first place. And not too far recently, I went down to Martin Luther King Day, where they don't care about the rights of other people, just as long as they can sell their scam merchandise. Now, give me specifics exactly how I go about finding out how to do something about a cop that I witnessed doing a crime.
Okay. The chief's office, this is Laura.
How you doing, Laura? I'd like to know something. If I'm not correct, your name's Laura Olson, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the police chief is of Panama City, Florida, is Scott Irvin, right?
Correct.
Now, I'd like to know something, Laura. Are you concerned about the conduct of police officers when they're out there serving the public?
Am I concerned about their behavior?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why.
Does a person have a right, not a privilege, to be able to anonymously report a cop that is breaking the law to where they might fear intimidation and conspiracy by the cops?
Sure.
Oh.
You want to. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, Laura Olson. I would like to tell you exactly what I saw yesterday that absolutely floored me. As of February 9th, 4:30 at the intersection of Wilson Avenue and 23rd Street, I witnessed something that I thought I would never see out of a cop. Now, if I'm not correct, when a cop makes a stop, he has to let somebody know for his safety exactly where he makes that stop. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, he goes on the radio, tells the radio room where he is.
Okay, here's the situation. I consider this very serious, and I hope you do too. All right, here's what happened. February 9th, 4:30, and I'm assuming because it was getting close to 5 o'clock, that was probably, I would not be able to get, probably you might be off, Lord Olson, at 5 o'clock, right? Am I correct on that?
What was that?
You might have changed shift at 5 o'clock, right? If I'm not correct, right? You wouldn't be there at the Panama City Police Department, right?
I work 8 to 5.
Right. So therefore, the next day, on February 10th, I'm calling about this situation. It's a situation that I could not believe. And I was fearful for even confronting the cop about his law-breaking activity. Now, I'd like to ask you something. Do bicyclists have a right to travel down the same road as a car?
Talking about on the roadway?
Yeah.
As far as I know, I'm not an officer, but I would think so.
Well, let me ask you something. I'm assuming that if you happen to be the secretary of Scott Irvin, that you would know more than the average cop on the road. Am I correct on that?
You are wrong.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
I'm not an officer, sir. I don't know statutes. I don't know laws. I'm a secretary.
Okay, all right, now. All right, let me just tell you, 316-2065 of the Florida statute specifically states that a bicyclist has a right to be able to travel down the road, just like any other vehicle. 316-083 of the Florida statute specifically states that a car has to stay 3 feet away from that bicyclist at all times. And that was passed in 2005.
All right, so what's the problem? What are you...
Okay, here's the situation I thought I would never see. There was a red light at Wilson Avenue and 23rd Street, Panama City, Florida, 4:30 in the afternoon. The cop was going from west to east. He stopped this bicyclist. Actually, he was kind of like driving his car a little bit, and then he put on his some kind of warning device and told the bicyclist to move, to get to ride on the sidewalk, or he was going to arrest him and throw him in jail. Now, I'm assuming that because it was at a red light, it was not something to where the cop told the bicyclist in an intersection that could not be identified. It was an intersection that could be identified. And I'd like to know, does this cop deserve to be a cop anymore? And what else has this cop done that he's getting away with if he is going to terrorize a bicyclist who now has fear that he's not going to know when he's lawfully going down the road, conducting himself in a manner that is a reasonably safe manner, that he's going to be arrested and thrown in jail? Would you say that cop overstepped his boundaries?
Well, I wasn't there, and I don't know what the circumstances were, but what I can do is have the patrol captain call you, and he can look into the situation and then call you back and talk to you about it, because I can't speak for an officer when I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened, so I'd have to get somebody with knowledge of state statutes and laws to call you back and discuss it with you.
Well, let me ask you something. Okay, if I'm talking to, how long have you been with the Panama City Police Department, Secretary of Scott Irvin, the police chief?
I've been at the police department for 24 years. I've worked for Scott Irvin for probably about 4.
4? Oh, for Scott Irvin, 4 years? Okay, so I'm assuming that I would assume that if you've been there 24 years, I would assume that you've got a pretty good understanding of the laws in the state of Florida, right?
No, sir. Once again, I am not an officer. I am not a lawyer. I do not know Florida state statutes, and I do not know laws.
Well, do you appreciate somebody going out of their way, giving you these laws? Now, also, under 775 of the Florida statutes,
Sir.
Hear me out. Don't hang up on me. Don't hang up on me. This is very...
I'm trying to get you answers to your questions, but you're wanting me to answer them, and I cannot do that.
Then what I'm... Okay, since I'm talking...
I'm trying to get someone who can help you.
No, Laura, I've got the police chief's secretary, okay? All right? Okay, now, here's what I want to tell you, okay? 775-30 of the Florida statutes, Section 2A, to intimidate a person of the general population and also to corrupt government's operations is actually terrorism. Now, I'd like to know something. You weren't there, but wouldn't you say that if I have gone out of my way, I've given you the time, I've given you the date, oh, by the way, the officer was a white young officer. It looked like to me he was white. He wasn't black, he wasn't Hispanic, he wasn't Indian, he wasn't Asian, he wasn't Oriental, he wasn't Hispanic. Now, if...
I understand, and what the captain will do is he will go in the radio logs on that date and on that time, and he will figure out what officer that was. Then he will find out what happened, why this happened, and then he will call you back.
Okay, let me ask you something. I don't understand this. I'm kind of confused. If Scott Irvin, if I'm talking to the police chief, I don't need to be talking to no captain.
Let me explain to you the structure of the police department. You have a chief of police. He has a command staff. He has one over patrol. He has one over investigations. He has one over support services. And he has one over special operations. When we have an issue with patrol, it goes to the patrol captain. If he can't resolve the issue, then you go to the chief. So I'm trying to help you, but you won't let me.
Here's the thing. What I don't understand is that would be the same thing. What is the reason for the police chief there in the first place, Laura Olson?
He's over the whole department.
That's right.
He can't do the whole